Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to our genetics class. In the previous video, we discussed sex-influenced genes, genes whose expression is influenced by the sex in which that gene is present. So we have discussed a very basic example of cattle, the mahogany and white and red and white, and let's revise it and then we go further and discuss another topic. So here is the full cross diagram or a graphic that was made by me long ago. So let me share it with you. So this is the let's reduce it a little. Okay, so this is the same cross that we discussed in the previous video. So we have two parents. These are the females, are the cows, red and white, recessive, homozygous, and this is mahogany and white, male, also homozygous, right? And now their gametes, since they are homozygous, so they produce one kind of gametes, male and female, and then we are going to cross them, and this is the F1 individual. And as you can see, its expression of these two alleles is different in male and female, bulls and cows. So male will be mahogany and white and female will be red and white. So next is the selfing F1. So this is one F1 individual, this is another one, these are their gametes, and what we get in the end, genotypes of three kinds: homozygous dominant, homozygous recessive, and two heterozygous, 1:2:1. But their phenotype of especially these recessive heterozygous pair is different in male and female. So this is what we get in the F2. If it is both uppercase M or dominant, we have mahogany and white, whether male or female. If it is lowercase m, homozygous recessive, it is red and white, whether male or female. But when it becomes heterozygous, then the situation is different, and we have mahogany and white male and red and white female. So these pair of alleles, their expression is sex dependent, influenced by the sex of the bearer, gender in which this particular pair is present. Let's see another example, and that is in humans, and that is pattern baldness, loss of hair on the head. Let's see the inheritance of or the pattern of inheritance of pattern baldness in humans. So this is the inheritance of pattern baldness. So we have these two alleles, uppercase H and lowercase h. And now you can see their inheritance pattern in man and woman, in male and females. So when it is homozygous dominant, so the men will be bald and the woman will be bald as well. However, in heterozygous case, and if it is homozygous recessive, then men and women, they both will be non-bald, that is, the hairs from their head, they do not lose after a certain age. However, in heterozygous case, as you can see, the men are bald, but the women are still non-bald. So in heterozygous case, this particular pair of alleles is affected by the gender or the sex of the bearer, just like we have seen in the mahogany and white and red and white. So this was a case from humans, the pattern baldness. Next is the sex-limited genes. As their name indicates, sex-limited genes are those whose expression or the phenotypic effect of the genes is limited in a particular sex. Now, there are many characters in humans. One of them, for example, beard. Now, Beard is present in men and absent in women. A very simple case. Now, this is a sex-limited characters. Women, females, they do not have beard or mustache, and the males they have beard. Now, these and many others, which are known as secondary sexual characters, and you must have studied them in your FSC, they depend upon certain hormones, the endocrine gland system in our body, including the sex hormones. So in male testicles, they secrete the male sex hormone, and in females ovaries, they secrete the female sex hormones. So the effect of these genes, it is controlled by those hormones, and because of which the expression of these genes is different in male and female, or a particular character is present only in one sex and not in other, as I have just told you about this particular. So it is limited to one. It is not that in certain cases women would bear the beard, or they might develop the beard. It is not the case. They are beardless throughout their lives. But men, they develop beard. So let's see an example of this sex-limited genes from poultry, that is chicken. Now, the hen and the cock, or the rooster or the male, their tail or tail feathering is very characteristic. Tail feathers of these two individuals, that is hen and cock. So here is a simple image of a rooster, a cock, and a hen. As you can see, their tail feathers, now they are totally different. Now, females, they usually have straight feathers in their tails, like this, as you can see here. So it is known as hen feathering, straight. Whereas the males, they have these sickle shape, like this. Their feathering is known as sickle shaped. So this is a characteristic of the male, and whereas the female, they have hen feathers. So these two characters, that is the hen feathering and the cock feathering. So we have this particular character. This is known as hen feathering, in which the feathers are straight, and this is cock feathering, in which the feathers are sickle shaped, as you can see in this particular diagram. Let me show you another one. In this image, as you can see, the situation is somewhat different. The female, or the hen, it still has that hen feathering. Now here the cock has the hen feathering as well. So in both, the feathers are hen feathered, and the cock is not possessing these hairs, like these sickle shaped feathers. So these two traits, hen feathering and cock feathering, they are because of two pairs of alleles. They are dominant and recessive, and let's see their patterns of inheritance in both the sexes. So here it is, the cross, and let's enlarge it to show you the details. As you can see, we have two pairs of alleles, uppercase S and lowercase s. When it is both uppercase, the females, they are hen feathered, the males are also hen feathered. When it is heterozygous, in the presence of this dominant, males are again hen feathered and the females are also hen feathered. But when it becomes recessive, now the males should have been hen feathered, like we have hen feathered and hen feathered. But now these recessive alleles, their effect is different in females and males. Females are hen feathered in all the cases. So this particular trait, the hen feathering, it is restricted to females, and the males become cock feathered only when it is homozygous recessive. So when we have homozygous recessive, the males are sickle shaped, they have cock feathered tails or sickle shaped feathers of the tail, whereas females, they are hen feathered. So this particular trait, it is restricted to males only, and the females never develop this particular feature, which is cock feathering. So cock feathering, the effect of these alleles to produce the cock feathered effect is only present in the males, and this is limited to the male sex or the male gender, or cocks only, rooster only, whereas the hens, they always have hen feathers, whether it's both dominants or it's a heterozygous condition or it is a homozygous recessive, they always have hen feathered, whereas this cock feathering is limited to males only. So this was a very basic example of, and you can make a cross yourself. And uh, just let me quickly show you the F2, for example. If we make the selfing F1, so we get S, S, and S, and lowercase s, S, and both lowercase. So all these three individuals, as you can see, they will be hen feathered, male and female both. But this particular homozygous recessive, if it is a rooster or cock, it has cock feathering, that is a sickle shaped feathers of the tail, and if it's a hen, it will have hen feathers. So the effect of this particular trait is limited to males only. So this was a discussion of sex influenced and sex limited genes. uh, Next, we shall discuss, inshallah, the genetic engineering, which is because we have almost covered most of the topics in the genetics. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.